These Election 2021 candidate interviews are sponsored by Edmonds College, Office Tech, and James Russell PLLC, Certified Public Accountants and Business Advisors. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 2021 City of Lynnwood City Council and Mayor candidate interviews. I am Teresa Whipple. I'm the publisher of Lynnwood Today, and I am here with Linda Jones, President and CEO of the Lynnwood Chamber of Commerce. And we are happy to bring in to our interview Lisa Utter, who is running for position 3. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, we're going to start with a very general question, Lisa, and that is what experiences would you bring to the council and how are they relevant to being an effective council member?
Okay. Yeah, so I was on the council for 12 years, and during that time, I really focused on transportation. So I served almost 10 years on the Community Transit Board, and then I was on the Sound Transit Executive Committee for the Texas T, for some of the projects here, for the major project here in Lynnwood, and as well as on the Puget Sound Regional Council on the GMA and affordable housing, transit-oriented development, various ways of traffic demand management. That's the words I'm looking for. And so I have a whole bunch of that background. I also have taken a lot of interest in planning. I was on the planning commission. I took planning classes down at UW. I took regional governance down at when I went back for my MPA in 2008 and 2010. So it was 2 years. So I have a lot of kind of government knowledge and knowledge of this particular region and of Lynnwood in particular as well. I have a lot of, and I'm very involved with the community here. My 2 kids went through public school, so I was on the PTA at Spruce and Lynnwood Intermediate and Madrona and Alderwood Middle and Lynnwood High School, and then I've also been a tutor at Scriber Lake and with the WOW program, and then I'm also involved with the cold weather shelter. I was involved with the family support group, family support center in Lynnwood, and worked on a lot of projects with there. So I have all of this. And I was very involved in the planning for the city center when I was on the council before, and the planning for light rail to arrive. And since it is now arriving, this is a very exciting time to return to the council if the citizens chose to pick me.
Very good. Thank you, Linda.
Thank you. Lynnwood has been cited as a model for regional growth. How does Lynnwood grow while still maintaining the character of its existing neighborhoods?
Well, it's a challenge. It really is going to be a challenge, and that's one of the things that I think the current residents really want to know, that while you're planning for the future, you are thinking about their needs and their quality of life right now in terms of traffic flow, in terms of affordable housing, in terms of their children being able to go to school and afford to stay in the neighborhood. And so I think that there are ways of doing that, but it's going to be challenging. One is that we clearly have to build more houses because the population is growing, both because of children. We have a lot of children in Lynnwood, but also from people moving to this area. So I think that there are ways of focusing on affordable housing, really advocating at the federal and state level for funding for affordable housing, looking at our zoning, and they've just adopted a housing plan that says, we should be adding some ADUs and some DADUs, and those are accessory dwelling units, formerly called mother-in-law apartments. I was instrumental in bringing the ADU ordinance up for revision in 2008 and 2009, when we had not developed more. We had 7 legal ADUs in the city because the ordinance was so onerous and really discouraged ADUs in truth. And so I was instrumental in bringing that up then. And then later on in 2016, I think it was, they started looking at detached accessory dwelling units, and I helped testify on that because I think that those are ways to make home ownership affordable in this city by allowing people who own homes and live on property to have a rental income from smaller units on their property. I think that the home ownership element of that ordinance is really important to make sure that it's done in a quality way, but also, and then there are other options, of course. So I think we need to look at all of those in order to, protect the scale of our current neighborhoods, so not, and also allow for the additional housing units that we need.
Thank you.
What ideas do you have for addressing the city's homelessness issue?
So there are a couple of things. One is we have divested from public housing for 4 decades, at least. I truly do believe that there is a need for really real public housing. There's room for partnerships with nonprofits and partnerships and use of tax increment financing, but I think at a national level, we need to be talking about public housing. We need to look for real opportunities and funding sources for supported housing. I have spent a lot of time with individuals who are homeless or near homeless or having difficulties, financing life in this community, and some of them just need the housing support, but some of them need more than that because they need housing first, which I think is a great model, in order to stabilize and then address mental health issues and substance abuse issues and domestic violence, other things that are going on in their life, lack of a job, learning disabilities, all of these things that can make life more difficult, and that supported housing provides kind of that support that leads to happier and better lives for them, and hopefully a better life for the whole community.
Thank you.
How would you help Lynnwood businesses who have been impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic?
So I know we've lost a lot of businesses, and that is really sad. I think in terms of there is monies available, and I think we should support. We should look carefully at strategically at how to support those, and to work with, of course, the chamber and other economic engines to see what kind of synergies we can get that would support them, or ways. I mean, different cities have done different things. Some cities are, paying for restaurant meals if people, orders. And I don't think that we're in that phase right now, but we need to make the, always looking to streamline and address the issues that small businesses in particular are facing. And small landlords are a part of that. Over 50% of the units in the country are owned by small landlords, not big apartment buildings owned by corporations, and they tend to be the less expensive and also more flexible in their requirements, and so they're an important part of the affordable housing answer as well.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have ideas for better engaging residents who have not traditionally been involved in city government?
So, I don't know if you, Jim Deers, who wrote the neighborhood book for Seattle, said, if you're only inviting, if only ducks are arriving at your meetings, then you're only sending out duck calls, and so you've failed to reach out to, beyond that. And it's hard because I think people have busy lives, and so asking them to commit for a lot of time is challenging. I think that the one of the things that the pandemic taught us is that doing remote calls could be done. It could allow people, and it certainly allowed me to attend meetings that I wouldn't have gone to, and I certainly would not have dedicated 2 or 3 hours to. But I could, 2 or 3 hour in the background and then testify and comment or send emails to my elected representatives on the school board, for example, because there was that ability. This The problem is, of course, not everybody has access to the digital world, which we found out certainly through the school district with the number of people who had real challenges doing, um, getting their kids that way. So, which is one of the reasons why I support broad access for all to the internet, and then the people, of course, need the tools to use them. So I think that that's one opportunity. The other opportunity, I think, is that for example, the senior center did a lot of reaching out to community members that were in their circle um, during the pandemic to kind of build connections and make just do that kind of warm touch of the city government. And I think that that's also a way of kind of eliciting responses and things. There, there are organizations that I think are strengthening in this community, um, and are working hard at. And the Communities of Color Coalition has been around for a while, but there's some new PACs that are really working at trying to bring diverse communities into the process as well. And I certainly support those.
Thank you.
Name the top challenge you see for Lynnwood in the next 5 years, and how would you address it?
So I think everyone thinks that affordable housing is is the top challenge, and I would agree with that. I think that's concurrent with making um, making this a livable community, and so really enforcing the plans that were made for City Center and for the arrival of light rail with good parks and good street design that includes everybody, and redistributing the transportation, the transit options so that people, so that everyone has access to transit. But wedging that in with more houses and more housing is going to be challenging, and so it's really important to focus on the design and making sure we abide by those when the pressures get on to just change things so that it makes it a little bit easier for someone without addressing the public good.
Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
As a council member, how would you address concerns from marginalized populations who might not feel safe living in Lynnwood?
Well, I I think that I think the point of that is to make sure that that avenues of engagement are open, that people actually are listened to, and that not only listened to, but like their input is taken into account. That when people are pulled into engagement at either community meetings or on boards and stuff, we actually empower them to make things happen. And then there has to be accountability. I mean, I think we all know that we do not that this you know we have not lived up to our ideals of having everyone be treated by with the same kind of respect and dignity and humanity, and that's true in hospitals, and it's true in the police department, it's true in the court system, it's true, it's just true, and And the point of that is that there's systemic problems that we do need to address, and we need to hold people accountable. We need to monitor for equity in our policies, and then we need to change them, and we need to monitor to make sure that the new policies turn into the equity that we seek, and then we need to hold people accountable if it's not working, and we need to change again if it doesn't work.
Okay, thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is the last one. Last question. Pretend you are talking to a business owner who's considering relocating their business to Lynnwood. Give us your 30-second sales pitch for why the city is a good place for business.
Okay. Well, Lynnwood is a good place for business because it's obviously the crossroads and the hub of South Snohomish County. You have access to an airfield that provides good service. You have access to a port. You have easy access for your citizens to recreational facilities. It is a city with great parks and great services.
Very much.
All right, now you have an opportunity to tell the voters why they should vote for you.
Hello. I'm running right now because I think this is a very exciting time for Lynnwood, and I think that experience matters. There are two other candidates who are really interested in bringing diverse things, but they do not have any experience either in planning or in transportation or in kind of regional government. So I think that I am the best candidate. I've served for 12 years. I am very deeply rooted in this community, and I really look forward to an opportunity to serve you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you taking the time, know how busy it is when you're running a campaign, and thanks again for being here.